They say tomorrow never forgets. The wind may scatter ashes, but the soul remember its own story, even through lifetimes. This is the story of Chiamaka, a woman whose cry for a child echoed through generations, one in flesh and one in spirit. Chiamaka was 34, a brilliant Lagos-based lawyer with everything life could offer: wealth, beauty, and a loving husband, Somto. But after 6 years of marriage, her greatest longing remained unanswered: a child. Every month ended with the same silence, the same tears, the same question to heaven. Hospitals, herbal homes, fasting and prayer camps, nothing worked. The doctor simply said, "Your womb looks normal, but it refuses to hold life." Somto stayed patient, but the pressure from family grew. "Go and find another wife," his mother often whispered. But he never did. He loved her deeply. Yet Chiamaka's spirit began to drown in guilt. One night, after her usual midnight tears, she fell asleep on the couch. She found herself standing in a wild field under the moon. Women dressed in ancient wrappers danced around a large fire. An old priestess, her eyes like rivers, stepped forward and said, "Child of yesterday, the seed you buried has found you again." Chiamaka trembled. "What seed? Who are you?" The priestess lifted her hand, and a mist parted. Through it, Chiamaka saw a woman from another era, a striking resemblance of herself, standing in front of a mud shrine. The woman was surrounded by men and women kneeling before her. The priestess whispered, "You were Obianuju, the midwife of Oguta. You vowed never to bear children again, for you saw men using women's womb as currency of honor. You mocked the gift of creation and sealed your womb before the gods, saying..." And suddenly, Chiamaka heard the echoes of her own past voice. "Let my womb be dry in all lives to come, that I may never taste the pain of motherhood again." The priestess turned back to her, voice heavy like thunder. "And so it was sealed. Your womb remembers the vow your tongue forgot." When she woke up, her pillow was wet with tears, her body cold for weeks. She tried to forget, but the dream returned again and again, clearer each time. Finally, desperate, she traveled to Oguta, her late mother's village, determined to find answers. There she met Mama Odion, an ancient herbalist known for seeing into lifetimes. When Chiamaka narrated everything, Mama Odion simply nodded. "We inherit more than blood, my daughter. The soul carries its depths." She took a bowl of water, dropped 7 cowries into it, and chanted. The water began to ripple through the air and it was still. She murmured, "You tied your womb yourself, not with this body, but with the one before it. To untie it, the soul must remember what it denied." That night, Mama Ojo led her to the riverside with palm oil, 7 white cloths, and a clay pot. The moon was full, round like a mother's belly. Chiamaka knelt as the old woman sang in ancient tongue. "The womb of yesterday, open your eyes. The seed of tomorrow, hear the cry." The river stirred, glowing faintly. Images began to flash before Chiamaka's eyes. Her past life as Obianuju, the healer who had refused to bring her own children into a cruel world. She saw herself mocking other women, burning herbs to seal her fertility, swearing by the goddess that she would rather sell than bear. Tears streamed down her face. "I didn't know. I didn't understand," she cried. Mama Audion's voice shook. "Now you must repent, not with words, but with service. A womb closed by pride must open through compassion." Chiamaka was instructed to care for the orphans and the widows for 7 market weeks, to feed, clothe, and nurse those who could not repay her. Each act of kindness, Mama Audion said, will soften the curse written upon her spirit. And so she did. She sponsored medical bills for pregnant women. She adopted a girl abandoned by the river bank and named her Ebubechukwu, the glory of God. Slowly, her heart began to heal. But life still tested her. One day, as she crossed the road with Ebubechukwu, a car lost control and almost hit them. She pulled the child to safety, collapsing with a cry. But instead of fear, she felt something shift inside her. A warm flow, a deep pulse. For the first time, her womb felt alive. Months passed. One morning, she felt dizzy and nauseous. She ignored it until the 3rd day, when Somto insisted on a hospital visit. The doctor looked at the reports and he was confused. "Madam, congratulations, you are 2 months pregnant." Chiamaka froze. Somto fell to his knees in tears. At night, as she lay on her bed, a gentle wind brushed her face. She heard the familiar voice of the river priestess whisper, "The gods do not punish, they teach. You have learned the power of your vow and the mercy that breaks it. Live wisely, child of yesterday." She smiled in her sleep, hand over her belly. 2 years later, Chiamaka gave birth to twin girls. She often told them bedtime story, not from books, but from memory. "Whatever you speak into the wind, my daughters, the earth will hear. Be careful what promises you make in anger or pride, for they may follow you into another life." And sometimes, on full moon nights, she would see the image of Obianuju, her past self, smiling from the water, free at last. Our soul carry records deeper than blood. Every vow, every curse, and every word, it waits for remembrance. What we reject in one life may return in another until it is healed with love. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you learned something from this story. A story of the present life and the past life. If you have experienced or heard of something like this, you can drop your comments in the comment section. Drop your views. Drop what you think in the comment section. Click on the follow button, subscribe, like and share, for this story would help a soul. Thank you. Bye. See you next time.